We have another form of a function in Python programming language called the Lambda function. So here we have few examples of Lambda functions. So how the Lambda function is created? First we have the Lambda keyword, then we have colon, and then we have placed an integer 5. Now as you can see, we have placed integer 5 after colon. By doing so, we have just created a Lambda function. A Lambda function is often referred to as an anonymous function. So if we do not assign the Lambda function to a variable, it can be regarded as an anonymous function. However, it's mandatory to assign it into a variable. By doing so, we are able to invoke the Lambda function. So down below, we'll use the print function, and inside the print function, we have placed our first variable, and we are able to invoke it. So as you can see, we have placed parentheses next to our first variable. And as you can see, it looks very identical to how we invoke a regular function. So running the following code will result to an integer 5 to be displayed in our console. Now, in the second example, we have a variable second to which we will assign our Lambda function, and inside our Lambda function, we have a parameter of a. Then we have colon, and then we have a plus a. So we will perform addition. So what will happen is, again, our Lambda function will be assigned to our variable called second. Then inside the print function, parentheses, we have placed our second variable. We will invoke our second variable by placing an integer of 6 as an argument. Now the integer 6 will be given to our parameter a. So 6 plus 6 will result to an integer 12. So when the following code is run, we will have 12 displayed as a result. So again, we can also place parameters inside our Lambda function. Here we have the third example. Here we will place two parameters. So we have parameter a and parameter b. And the following Lambda function again will be assigned to a variable. It's mandatory to assign it to a variable. By doing so, we are able to invoke our Lambda function. Without assigning it to a variable, our Lambda function will remain anonymous. So here we have our print function. Inside the print function, we have our third variable. So we will invoke our Lambda function by placing two arguments inside the parentheses of our third variable. So integer 5 will be given to parameter a, and integer 6 will be given to a parameter of 6. So 5 will be multiplied by 6. As a result, we will get 30 displayed in our console as a result of running the following code. Now, there is another way. When we invoke a Lambda function, we can place another Lambda function as an argument. So over here, as you can see, we have, for example, we will again run the following, we will invoke the following line of code. So we have the print function. Now inside the print function, we have placed our Lambda function's third variable. And inside the parentheses, we have placed an integer 5 as an argument, which will be given to our a parameter. However, we will invoke our first Lambda function by placing the first Lambda function as an argument inside the third Lambda function as an argument. So when we invoke our first Lambda function, as a result, we will of course get 5 integer, as integer 5 is a part of our first Lambda function. So b will receive an integer of 5. So we will have 5 multiplied by 5, as over here, and we will get 25 displayed as a result of running the following code. So let me explain again. So we have invoked our Lambda function, which our first variable contains the following Lambda function. So we will invoke it here, and we will place our first Lambda function as an argument, as the second argument inside when we invoke our third Lambda function. By doing so, our parameter a will receive an integer 5, and our parameter b will receive an integer 5. So 5 multiplied by 5 will result to 25 to be displayed in our console. Then moving forward, we have another examples of Lambda function. This time we have a variable called fourth and a variable called fifth, to which we will assign the following Lambda functions in order to have it invoked. Here we will perform integer division, and in the last line of code, in the fifth variable concerning the Lambda function, we will perform power of operator. We'll use the power of operator. So what we have here, first we will have, when we invoke our fourth Lambda function, we will place 2 arguments inside the parentheses. So we'll have 7 divided by 7. 1 will be displayed in our console as a result of running the following code. Then down below we will have, when we invoke our Lambda function, which has been assigned to our fifth variable. So we have the print function. Inside the parentheses we have fifth variable, parentheses. As the first argument we will have parameter a receive an integer 2. Then we have b, which will receive an integer 3. So we'll have 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. So we will have 8 displayed as a result of running the following code. So we have 2 power of 3. So this is how the Lambda function operates and works in Python programming language.